Wow. Can anybody say anything other than wow? uh, what an interesting fight, right? So, move my little notes over here. So, it was an interesting fight. It's unfortunately, it's also going to be marred by controversy. There's no way around that in this situation. Before we talk about the end of the fight, which probably everybody probably only wants to talk about the end of the fight. They're not interested in, the parts about boxing that really interest me, which is like the actual art of boxing and how people got to the situation they did. But I'm gonna talk about that shit anyway. So first I'm gonna score the rounds. I'll talk about how I scored him. So the first round I thought was a pretty even round. I don't remember anything that Andre Ward landed. I know he landed some punches, but I'm mostly in my mind I have the body shots that Kovalev was landing. And when he started throwing body shots in the first round, feinting up top, and then Andre Ward would dip down and he would throw a body shot, I thought the fight was over already. In the first round, I thought the fight was going to be over. Not he's going to knock him out in the first round, but I was like, he made an adjustment. He's going to do it. He's going to, Andre Ward does that thing where he dips down, right? And sometimes he dips down too far, but he always dips down to his right and never inside, so he's never open for headshots. He just creates so much distance by dipping down to the right. And I started seeing those shots, and I honestly thought that Kovalev was going to be able to land punches to the body all night because of Andre Ward's main form of defense. And it was really interesting to me. I did give the round to Kovalev. It wasn't a lot to score, it was a couple body shots, and Andre Ward landed a couple jabs, and I'm not sure if he landed any hooks in that round. But Andre Ward, it kind of did pick up, in round 13, with a slight adjustment from Kovalev. As you saw, Andre Ward was also picking up right where he left off with the jab to the body, right? Even though he didn't throw a lot of jabs to the body, I don't think. I just watched the fight, and I don't remember seeing hardly any. But he used the feint to the body all the time, and he was landing left hooks. He would feint to the body. He would give him that little dip, and then he would throw right hands this time. That's another thing. His right hand in this fight was just so much better than it was in the last fight. One of the viewers said that he had knee surgery, and I'll be honest, I don't pay attention to any media. I don't watch until now, until I started doing this YouTube shit. I didn't watch any media. I don't watch any interviews. I go to one boxing site to see what fights are being signed, and then as soon as I look at the headlines of the articles, I just leave. I don't ever read or listen to boxing commentary. A lot of it just winds up being people pandering to their audience. I'm sure that there's a ton of people saying, I told you Andre Ward was going to knock out Kovalev, but I just think that they're pandering to their audience. I don't even think they really believe that shit. But what the fuck? Did you guys see that right hand? Oh shit. Anyway, back to round one. So Andre Ward was feinting to the body a lot, and Kovalev wasn't picking up on the feints, and he was respecting them and then getting caught with good shots from him. But anyway, round one I edged it to Kovalev based on those body shots. Round two, I had Kovalev winning most of the round, and at the end of the round, the last 30 seconds, they had a weird break or something, and then the last 30 seconds, Andre Ward landed a couple body shots. Again, those body shots, it looked like, and I didn't do film study, I watched the fight 4 times. but I haven't done any film study on it. I was paying attention to like minor techniques and stuff. But again, Andre Ward's game plan, feinting to the body, like doing that same dip down, and then he would land body shots, and he was landing pretty good right hands to the body. But I still gave that round to Kovalev because I thought he controlled most of the round. You don't just get to steal the round with 2 punches at the end. I think he landed like 3 or 4 punches at the end of the round, but I still gave it to Kovalev. Round 3, also pretty close round that I gave to Kovalev, so I've got him up 3-0 right now. And I didn't have a problem with Paulie Malignaggi's scorecard. He had round 1 even. I think he had 2 and 3 to Kovalev, and round 4 to Andre Ward. I'm not sure. And after 6 rounds, I'm not sure exactly what his scorecard was, but I know after 6 rounds, I think he had 2 even and 2 for each fighter. So an even fight. I gave the 4th round to Andre Ward by a landslide. I thought he dominated that round. I don't think he, and I could be wrong too. I'm not like it's tough to score a fight and to watch the happenings of each round. What each fighter's doing right and wrong and whatever. And I've only seen the fight 4 times, so you mix a little bit of each in there, you miss a little bit of each time. But I gave the 4th round to Andre Ward. The 5th round, man, I didn't make any notes for those rounds. I think they just looked like close rounds and probably could have gone either way. I edged both the 5th and the 6th to Kovalev. And I could be wrong, I'm not set in stone about my scoring. I just scored the fight like 10 minutes ago. And then the 7th round I had for Andre Ward. And but Kovalev made an adjustment in this round, in the 7th round, when they were fighting on the inside, and he started actually fighting on the inside rather than just getting bodied up and tying up. And I think it was the 7th round. And started landing some good shots, some really good shots. And he continued to do that in the 8th round. I still gave the 7th round to Ward. So, like, right now I've got it 5-2. 5-2 for Kovalev. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5-2 for Kovalev. So Kovalev up by a wide margin. And although the margin is wide, that's not indicative of how the fight plays out. There's this crazy, stupid, thought process that goes in for boxing, where a fighter could win 120, 108, and people think he blew the guy out, right? Because he won every round. But that doesn't mean that every round couldn't be a close round, right? Every single round can be a close round, and you could have scorecards that aren't close because the fight is close, but because it's scored individually, right? If you scored the fight as a whole, and then you just did it on a 10-point must system, the fight would end, instead of 120, 108, it would end 10-9, right? And then that's much closer, but that's probably a terrible way to say what I'm trying to say. But you can have a really close fight where the rounds are like a blowout, they look like a blowout and people see the score, but that's just not indicative of the way that the fight went. Anyway, so going into the 8th round, I had Kovalev winning 5-2. And all the way up until the 150 mark in round 8, I had Kovalev winning that round too. And it's really interesting. There was a scene, man, I really want to play it for you guys, but I don't want to get my video taken down. But at 150, you see Kovalev. I don't remember exactly how the exchange starts, but Ward starts coming in, and you see him crash into Sergey Kovalev with his head. And normally you don't hear headbutts, right? You just see them, and they're like, "Oh shit!" But this sounded loud as any punch in the round. And you see him crash into him. I could be wrong, but I watched it like 5 times. I was like, oh shit, that's definitely a headbutt. He crashes into him with a headbutt, and then throws 2 low blows, and then Kovalev bends down, and good for Andre Ward. He doesn't continue punching him and attacking him when he's got him hurt like this. I think he realized that the punches were a little low, and he wants to get a read from the ref. So I appreciate that Andre Ward didn't continue attacking him. But I want to kind of switch to this little screen right here. This is right after that incident. This is a screenshot, and this is right before that huge right hand that Andre Ward lands. But if you look at Kovalev, he's tapping on his belt, and you can see there's this little black dot right above his shorts. That's his belly button, you guys. His belly button is visible for the course of this fight. You can see it through like 95% of the fight. And that's another reason why I had trouble scoring, is because I wanted to rewatch the fight to make sure that Sergey Kovalev's belly button was visible. After the fight, I knew there'd be some controversy, but I was super busy yesterday. So after the fight, I had to run out and go, take care of some things. But I noticed that some people were commenting on my video about some of my little videos about what did I think about the fight, and I was like, oh, I didn't think that there was going to be that much controversy, the low blows and stuff. Sure, we'll talk about them later. Don't worry. But I started when I got home before I decided to make a video. I started reading some of the comments and stuff, and I went to the press conference. Like I didn't go to it. I watched it, but it was really interesting. Kathy Duval was, extremely upset, and she should be, right? She has to defend her fighter. The referee may not have been, but again, we'll talk about that later. But reading some of the comments that people were saying, like about Kovalev's trunks being up against his chest, and the fact that the punches were not low. Like, I don't know what fight these people were watching, or like what they... I don't have any idea what was going on, like in any of those people's, eyes. But like, number one, the punches were low, right? They're definitely low. And Kovalev, as you can see, that little black dot. If I put my mouse on the screen, I don't remember if my mouse overshoots or undershoots, but right now it's on the black dot, but it's probably like right here. I don't know. But there's a little black dot above his shorts, and that's his belly button. His belly button is visible for this, so there's nearly no reason that Andre Ward should be throwing punches that are low. And like I said just a few seconds ago, I had Kovalev winning this round right before he got headbutted, and then took 2 low blows, and first started complaining about low blows. I think he complained in the last round too, for some punches that were also low, and for some reason, Tony Weeks wasn't seeing the punches. I'm not sure exactly why, but we'll talk about more of that stuff at the end. I want to talk about the actual fight. So my first key to victory for Andre Ward was controlling the distance, and using his jab to stop Kovalev from landing his offense. And even though I thought that Kovalev was still winning the fight, he didn't land any punches that were anything near what he landed in the first fight in the second round. And I believe that was because of the way that Andre Ward was using his jab. He controlled the center of, not the center of the octagon, but he controlled Kovalev while he was in the center of the octagon. While he had no ring generalship, Andre Ward, he gave up, the whole ring. He was the one, moving backwards. And usually those kind of fighters, they don't always have the best control of their opponent. But Andre Ward had, what felt like nearly complete control of Sergey Kovalev. He was, I almost said he was crushing him with his jab, but he was controlling the crusher with his jab, 100%. Kovalev was having an extremely hard time setting up his punches because Andre Ward was respecting the feints. He was controlling him with the jab, and he was making Kovalev act first. He was making Kovalev commit to punches first because he would keep his jab out there. He would keep showing it, and Kovalev didn't have any option. You know, there are techniques that you can take away your opponent's lead hand when they're doing it. I'll tell like a little stupid story. I was training my coach, and I've only been training like 6 months or whatever, and I sparred with this guy who was doing that to me, and he had his arm out there, and I didn't know how to get around it. You know, I'm just starting to fight, and I'm like leaping around his jab, and he's just moving and catching me with shots. The guy was like really experienced, really experienced. He was national. He had fought at nationals 3 times, and he was a regional champ. But he was fucking kicking I don't know why my coach was okay with me sparring this guy, but he kept doing that. And my coach, like, he was really competitive and really, like, I don't know what was up with this guy, but he would lay into you for sucking in the ring. Like, man, did you feel like shit after. But I kind of just got schooled, and the guy was a good guy. He didn't hurt me or nothing, but he made me look stupid, and my coach didn't appreciate that. And he was showing me some things on the punch mitts, and he's like, okay, so now when I got my hand out there, you know, just punch me in the arm. And I'm like, what? Yeah, just punch me in the arm. I'm like, but is that a scoring blow? Is that this? Is that that? And he's like, it doesn't matter. It fucking hurts. And I was like, are you sure? And he literally throws off his punch mitt. And he's like, go ahead, throw a jab at me. And I throw my jab out there. And this motherfucker, like, he's like 6'3". He's like so tall. He's not like super built or nothing, right? But he's got so much range on me. And he's like, go ahead, throw a jab. So I like slowly like peck a jab out there. And he just fucking cracks me in the bicep with the left hook. And it fucking hurt so bad. I had this huge bruise there. He had no fucking glove on. Oh, it was ridiculous. But that's an interesting technique that you can use. And I had a huge bruise there for like 2 weeks or something, and it pretty much ended the day's training session. But that is one way that you can get around your opponent controlling you, is attacking their arms, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's not something that you see fighters use nowadays. I don't know how much it was ever used back in the day. You know, I know Alvarez was trying to do that against Mayweather. When Mayweather would have his Philly shell up, he started punching him in the bicep. But punching your opponent when their arm is like tightened and coiled, right? Because the muscle is flexed, it's not going to have any, like, nearly any effect. But when you punch their fucking bicep when they're extending their arm, holy shit, does it hurt. And that's one of the techniques that Kovalev could have used against Andre Ward, you know, just attacking his arm when he's controlling him with it. But Andre Ward did a fantastic job of controlling Kovalev with his jab. I don't think that he was winning the rounds, right? I think it was close. I wouldn't have a problem if you had Kovalev, if you had Ward winning. You know, I think that at the end of the fight, 2 of the judges had Ward winning by 1 point. And then another one had Kovalev winning by 2 or 1 or 3. I don't know. I might be wrong about those scores too, but I know 2 had Ward up, 1 had Kovalev up. You know, I thought that Kovalev was winning the fight, personally. But, you know, it's a close fight. They're tough to call. But anyway, Ward did a great job of controlling Sergey Kovalev. Even though I don't think he was getting the better of the exchanges. One thing that Kovalev didn't do, he wasn't attacking the body with his counters, you know, and he didn't realize in the first fight that Andre Ward has a very practical defense. He's got, you know, pretty good head movement, but he covers his chin pretty well with his shoulder. But he's never there to be hit after he lands punches. You know, he's like, there were times where so one of the things that he was trying to do is he started trying to counter and time the jab. And normally that's something that Kovalev does extremely well. He did it to Ismail Salak, timing his jab perfectly, countering him with the right a right cross and basically knocking him out with that shot. Even though he did get up, only to just get knocked out by a different punch, but that was the fight-ending punch for sure. And that was something that he was working on early in the fight, and I think that was kind of a mistake. Andre Ward has a pretty good jab. It's a pretty quick jab, and man, on that same note, Andre Ward looked fucking fast in this fight. He looked way faster than in previous fights. I didn't watch a lot of his Super 6 victories. At the time, I was training to fight myself, so I didn't have a lot of free time. But he looked really fast in this fight. This right hand that I've got him on the screen throwing, was massive. That was a massive right hand, and it was super quick. But anyway, Kovalev was not throwing punches to the body enough. He wasn't taking the openings that Ward was giving him. He continued to throw the same headshot that he missed, during the whole course of the first fight, all night long, rather than going to the body with the counters or going to the body when Andre Ward would dip down. And that was something that as soon as the first round started, I thought that he was going to continue doing, but he just, for some reason, he got away from it. Andre Ward did a fantastic job all night of setting up his punches with feints to the body. Because these guys have seen each other before, they knew that, a lot of those things were going to continue to play. I'm sure Kovalev had lots of time to think about how he was going to figure out how to work around the feints to the body, or how he was going to counter the jabs to the body if Andre Ward set them up. But Andre Ward didn't have to set them up. They were already set up because of the 12 rounds that they had before. And Andre Ward did a fantastic job of feinting jabs to the body and catching Kovalev with body shots. And left hooks to the head. He would start the rounds off and explode out of those guards. One of the rounds, he did do a feint to the body first and threw a right hand. I'm not sure how clean the right hand looked or landed, but it sounded like it landed, even though I'm not sure if it did or not. But a good job. One thing that I was talking about earlier was Kovalev trying to time Ward's jab. And a few of the times it looked like he was going to start getting him. I think in the second round he started getting real close. But Andre Ward, like I said, he's just not there to be hit after he punches, right? And, Kovalev could have made adjustments on his punches to land the punch from the direction that Ward was slipping, but he didn't. And I also think that Ward stopped throwing his jab as in the same way. And, I just don't think that was a decent, like a good game plan for him, countering over his jab. I think that it might have been on his mind because Ward had a great jab in the first fight, and taking away your opponent's tools for offense is extremely important. Like Andre Ward in this fight was able to take away the right hand really well, even though he got cracked with some good ones. The dipping down to his right, even though a lot of times he gets really low. And too low for it to be legal, he covers his chin really well, and he makes it really difficult for Kovalev to land the right hand. So let's see, what else was in this fight? What else happened? Okay, so we'll talk about the right hand that nearly ended the fight. What the fuck? Did any of you guys, did any reasonable boxing fans actually think that Andre Ward might be able to stop Sergey Kovalev? Anybody reasonable? Or even hurt him? With this fucking right hand. Boom! What? Are you kidding me? Did any of you guys see that coming? Nah. If you're saying yes, I think you're a liar. But who knows, whatever. I don't really care. It was a great shot, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to start talking about the things in the fight that also happened. Like I said before, there was an instance at the 140 mark or the 150 mark where Andre Ward runs in with his head and slams it into Kovalev's face, and then he lands 2 low blows, and that was the beginning of the end for Kovalev. Right after that, Kovalev follows him into the corner and winds up getting cracked with this right hand. Great shot. Part of the problem that I have with this is that I think that Andre Ward could have ended the fight without... I think he was... If he didn't land the low blows, I think he could have ended the fight. I think Kovalev was hurt enough that Andre Ward could have finished the fight. And it's super unfortunate for Andre Ward that he did throw low blows. And I've seen a lot of people online saying the punches weren't low, that Kovalev's trunks were high. This is right before the end of the fight, you guys, and this is Kovalev's belly button. You can see it. It's right there. But the fact of the matter is the punches were low. And now figuring out what you should do, it's... Could he have ended the fight? Could Andre Ward have ended the fight if he didn't land the low blows? I think so. I think he could have ended the fight. And it's unfortunate that he wasn't being more mindful of where his punches were landed, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that that's unfortunate. But who has to pay the price for how unfortunate it is? Why does Kovalev have to pay the price for how unfortunate it is? Right? Why is it Kovalev that doesn't have the opportunity to come back after being hurt like Andre Ward did in the first fight? Right? Why does he have to be the one that was stopped? And the stoppage, why was it stopped? Why would it not be a standing 8 count? If he's dipping down like that, I'm not sure what's going on in the referee's head. Wouldn't that just be that he's downed? Right? Wouldn't he just get a standing 8 count at the worst? Right? But like something that Paulie Malignaggi said, I thought that he was going to warn or take a point away from Andre Ward for the low blows. And if you see the clips, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, this and that, they weren't low. You can see, a borderline shot is when your opponent's glove is half above the belt and half below the belt. That's a borderline shot. And all of Andre Ward's low blows, his whole glove is below the belt. It's not a borderline shot. They're 100%, they were all low. And you can see on the replays, the last punch is 100% on the cup. The first punch, there was another angle where I saw it where it was very clearly a low blow. And I think that the only one that wasn't super clear might have been the second one, but I think that even HBO showed a different angle, and I couldn't find it again online, and I wasn't fucking recording my screen while I was watching the fight after the fight ended to see the low blow. I didn't actually think they were going to show it, to be honest. I thought that there was no fucking way that HBO was going to show the replays of the low blows. But they did. They surprised me. They showed them, and they were very clearly low. From the angles when they showed the straight ahead angle, they were very clearly low. And figuring out how you officiate that, aside from the low blows, I thought the officiating was pretty good. The only part that, the referee didn't catch aside from the low blows, the headbutt at 150, but when Andre Ward would duck down below the waist and then he would wrap his arm around Kovalev, Tony Weeks wasn't seeing that for some reason. But other than that, the fight was officiated really well. There wasn't a lot of holding and wrestling. I thought that Kovalev was getting the better of the exchanges on the inside. I might be wrong, but I think that he was definitely landing the harder shots. But yeah, just a weird way for the fight to end. And like, if you think about it, like, what did we really expect? How did we really expect the fight to end? Did anybody expect anything different? Oh man, what a mess! What a mess. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I thought that Andre Ward could have stopped the fight, or could have ended the fight, if he had just continued to throw legal blows. So it's most unfortunate for him. Question is like how the officiating, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they said that they were going to look at the replay and overturn Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? If you listen to how HBO forced them into a corner, and kept pounding away at that, there's like this weird intermission where they're like, oh, a Guillermo Rigondeaux fight ended in the first round. We didn't see that coming. We've got a whole hour to kill. So they got that guy on the camera and just badgered him about this and that, and how it was a punch after the bell, and how before that he was holding and hitting. So there's 2 fouls there. And basically, once they ran down and hammered out all the details of the information, they got the guy to say at the end of it that they're going to watch the replay, and they are going to watch the replay, and if the punch was indeed after the bell, they're going to DQ Guillermo Rigondeaux. And you got to wonder if they're going to do something similar for this, because, and not DQ, I don't think DQ Andre Ward, right? But maybe no decision, right? Do a no decision, or like I can't think of it, a no contest, and force an immediate rematch. Excuse me, guys. But I'm not sure. Should the fight have been stopped? I don't think so. Could Andre Ward have stopped the fight with legal punches in that round, or maybe the next? I do think so. I think that there was, in the 6th round, there was kind of a tide turning, and then Ward started picking up the pace and outlanded him in the 7th. But then I think in the 7th round, Kovalev figured something out and started fighting on the inside, keeping low, and landing some really great shots. And I think that could have been the turning point in the fight for Kovalev to land something great. And then Andre Ward lands that beautiful right hand that no one in their right mind, no reasonable person thought he'd be, because we saw some huge punches from Jean Pascal, right? How does Andre Ward, a middleweight, outpunch Jean Pascal, right? Land a better shot than him? I have no idea. I don't want to talk about any other controversial things. There have been some videos about that. Andre Ward looked pretty clean at the weigh-in, but not super clean in other photos of him. But, I don't know. Great performance from Andre Ward. Super unfortunate that he doesn't have the control of his arms to land, clean punches. Whether they're intentional or not is difficult to say, because Kovalev was bending down. There's that weird angle too, right? Where, oh, this is why you don't bend below the waist. This is why you, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I thought it was a good fight. I thought that Andre Ward controlled Kovalev most of the fight, even though I don't think he was getting the better of the fight. I did have Kovalev winning at the time of the stoppage. Although at the end of that round, it would have been 5-3, so Ward very easily could have still gotten back into the fight. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, please, anyone who has like a problem with anything that I said, I won't be able to do like a film study of this fight because HBO is going to take my videos down, and if I get any more copyright strikes, you'll never hear or see from me again. Let's see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. It was a good fight. Aside from the low blow stuff, it was entertaining. It was fun to watch. Andre Ward looked, like a completely different fighter. I'm not sure if I talked about that. Yeah, one of my viewers talked about how in the first fight, he had knee surgery and he had problems on his knees and this and that, and I was like, in my mind, I kind of thought it was bullshit. I didn't really know, but in my mind, I knew that if that was anything true, that Kovalev was gonna be, he was gonna be in it for a rude awakening if it was true, because if he fought a one-handed, one-legged fighter in the first fight, that's not going to be indicative of what he's going to fight in the second fight. And although I think that Kovalev was winning the fight, Andre Ward looked fantastic. He looked really good. Aside from the low blows, he did a lot of great things. And Kovalev, he did a lot of good things too. He was finding his shots. He wasn't landing with anywhere near the amount of authority that he would have needed to stop Andre Ward. He just wasn't able to set his punches up and land super clean punches because Andre Ward had control of him. but it was a good fight. It's unfortunate that it had to end this way. It's unfortunate that there were the fouls, the like crazy headbutt at 150 of the 8th round, and then the low blows that followed that, and then the low blows that ended the fight. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think that how the fight should happen, right? Remember, it's unfortunate that they were low blows. It's hard to say that they were intentional, right? Maybe they were, maybe they won't. I know some people will think they are, but why should the low blows be unfortunate for Kovalev, right? Why should Kovalev have to pay the price for that? And I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If the decision should be overturned, if they should have an immediate rematch, blah 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 blah. Yeah, thanks guys.